Over the past few years, I've done over 200 client pitches, and through that time, I've refined the process for both myself and clients to give them the highest chance of turning the people that had filled out the form on their website into customers. On this channel, I talk a lot about how you can increase the number of inquiries through your website, but in today's video, I want to go beyond the inquiry and look at 4 things you can do to persuade the hand raisers on your website that you and your business are the best option for them. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I think point number 4 is my favorite and something which we don't see many people do. So definitely stick around for that. Any questions, leave them in the comments. And if you find this video useful, feel free to hit a like and subscribe. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is look at what happens directly after a user fills out a form on your website. Through personal experience and through hearing from our clients, we found that a lot of the time someone will fill out a form on their website and then the salesperson will get in contact with them and they'll never hear from that prospect again. I'm sure if you're watching this, you can probably relate. So instead of adding that extra step of the salesperson needing to reach out, what we need to do is implement a step after the form fill which allows that person to book some time in your calendar straight away. If we can get that calendar invite booked in at the point in time they're still interested in speaking about the problem or solution, ultimately you're going to have a much higher percentage conversion rate into having that first call. For some reason people feel rude about ignoring and not turning up for a meeting, so they normally do, but they never actually feel rude for not responding to emails after them requesting for you to get in contact with them. It's weird, isn't it, human psychology? The Session Media website is a great example. Once someone's filled out a form, you can see here, you click submit, and then it will go through to this page where they can immediately book a call. We use HubSpot to do this because it keeps it very nicely within our CRM platform. So all the data from the form and the call booking is all now safely stored within our HubSpot account. Okay, so step 1, you've managed to increase the conversion rate from form fill to initial phone call. Okay, so step number 2 is a pre-qualification form. And to give you an example of this, a lot of the time that we get inquiries through our website, we'll need a bit more information to go into the initial call. So what we do is send over this form, which asks the person to send over a bit more information around the objectives of what they're looking to achieve, timeframes, and a few other questions, which probably take about 5 minutes to fill in. The purpose of this form is threefold. Threefold. What you'll find a lot of times, especially in B2B, is a lot of people will fill out the forms on your website requesting to get in contact, but they might not completely fit your ICP or ideal customer persona. So to stop wasting your time and their time, you can send them this form to make them fill out a bit more information about themselves if you can't find this information out on public sites like LinkedIn, for example. The second benefit of this pre-qualification form is it actually starts to get the person thinking about what it is that they want to achieve and why they engaged you in the first place. A lot of the time, filling out a form on your website isn't a massive commitment, and some people could just do it off the cusp without really thinking about it and not be too serious about a buying solution. If you send someone over a pre-qualification form, which takes 5 or 10 minutes to fill out, that person, in order to actually get that call with you, has to put in a bit of effort initially. Once they've done that, they're probably a lot more committed to the process of having the call and committed to taking next steps than they would have been if they had just filled out a form on your website and then go straight into a cold call. Rather than getting someone to jump straight into the water, this process is metaphorically getting them to dip their toe in first to see if it is the right fit for them through these pre-qualification questions, which gets them thinking a lot more in depth around what it is they're looking to achieve. A lot of the time, if they don't want to fill out this form because they haven't got the time or it's not a priority for them, chances are they're not going to turn into customers anyway, because it's a lot more of a time suck to actually go through the deal process than it is filling out a 10-minute form. So it may not be high up their priority list. 3, and probably the most important one, it gives you more insight into their current situation. It gives you more context about what's going on inside their head and inside their company and what they're looking to achieve. You can start tailoring your initial conversations and proposals to align with what's in their head, and it's all round a better user experience. Now, I'm not saying if someone comes in and they fit your ICP completely and they're a dream customer of yours to work with, that you should send them this form as a pre-qualification every single time. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to send this across because you want to jump straight into that initial call and you want to get that first call in as soon as possible. So isn't a hard and fast rule to put everyone in the same cookie cutter approach, but it's a really good step if 1, you're not too sure if the person fits your ICP, 2, you're not sure if they're that interested, or 3, you're not too sure what it is the direction that they're looking to go in. Again, if you want to create a pre-qualification form, we've just created a form using HubSpot. We put it on a URL on our website and we can send that over to prospects. And the great thing about this is once they fill out all this information, all the pre-qualification questions will then join the initial form fill, and any other email correspondence that you've had with this person previously. So again, in your CRM, it's all sitting in one place, and you're really starting to build a great profile of this person that you're speaking to. So okay, so you've got the call set up and you've had the pre-qualification form filled out. Now it's time to take them into your lead flow process. And this is one of the things from my side which took the longest to learn. And ultimately, you need to try and work out how many touch points it takes in order for someone to get all the information they need in order to make a decision. In our case, for example, we try and do it in 3 or 4 meetings. So we have the initial discovery call, we have the go-to-market strategy where we put a bit more meat on the bones and go through what we recommend as a route to market for the prospect, and then we have a final call to go through the contract, the scope of work, and anything else. We can also have a 4th call to go through any further questions or any pivots that may be needed, but ultimately we found 3 to 4 is a good number for us. The biggest thing that can come out of you as a B2B marketer, B2B founder, or B2B salesperson is working out the clarity of process. So when you're finishing the first meeting, you know there's going to be a second meeting. So look to set that second meeting up and clarify exactly what's going to happen in each stage. And ultimately, there's a timeline for the process that you're in. When you get new leads in the pipeline, you can start working out a rough estimate of when they're going to close. Again, some may be faster and some may be slower, but if you have this rough process, you can always alter it over time, and you can take the ad hoc cases one by one. And what you can do using HubSpot again is create a lead flow process. So here's an example, top level one of ours. And even though it's a 3-stage call process, within that you need to make sure that you're setting up your PowerPoint decks, that you're making sure that you do any follow-ups that you need to do, or you're doing any other work which may be involved with that sales process. So again, you have all your contained information from the initial form fill, the phone call, any emails, and the qualification information all within this card, and you can pull that card along this lead flow to make sure you guys can manage it correctly. So whether you use HubSpot or other CRM platforms, it's a really valuable way of making sure that you know exactly what's in your pipeline and the conversations you're having. And if you want to look back or delegate any of this work, all that information is hosted within this one CRM. Okay, right, moving on to number 4. If you're having a really hard time converting the people who are filling out the form into contacts, what you can do is create a list of all the companies of the people that have filled out the form in the past. You've probably gauged there's some intent there because they filled out a form. So what you can do is take these company domains and you can create an audience, whether that's again through HubSpot or directly within the LinkedIn platform. So you can start targeting the wider C-suite with ads. This then may start stirring up conversation internally, or this information then may start being relayed onto the person you were talking to initially. When it comes to you getting sign off, whether it's from people within the finance department or people that run the company, ultimately you're going to have less friction in that process. If they're already aware of who you are, if you're having a really hard time converting these form fills into customers, then look at taking that intent data, which is indicative from the fact they filled out the form, and targeting the wider organization, because it's a really good way of creating a targeted ABM strategy. Okay guys, that's everything for today, but to sum up, the first point is all around making sure you can increase your conversion rate from form fill into phone call. The second one then is around using pre-qualification forms to make sure that you're having the best conversations you possibly can do and getting the prospect to show a little bit of commitment. The third one's all around having a solid lead flow, so everyone knows where they are in the buyer's journey, so you know which actions need to be done. A prospect has clarity on what's happening in the next step. This is something you can constantly look to refine. And finally, if you're not having much luck, or even if you are, it's definitely worth getting ads targeting people that are in your lead flow. So you can continue that conversation even when you're not directly having communication with them. This may then spur different actions from their side, like getting back in contact, or it might push along the buying process because other internal stakeholders also are informed with what's going on with your company. Right guys, that's everything for today. Have a good one and speak to you next week.